Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
And welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on WKYC. I'm Jay Crawford. Over the next 30 minutes, for the 59th straight year, the Super Bowl will be played without the Cleveland Browns. That's 118 teams that have earned the berth to the Super Bowl, and the Browns have never been one of them. We're giving picks later in the show. Jason.
And they still ain't close. The Cavs, however, knocked it out of the park yesterday at the trade deadline, made a huge move, and in the process, opened up an extra roster spot. They can add 2 guys now in the buyout market. We're going to talk about some candidates for them. G.
Super Bowl drought? Well, the one thing that can save that and enhance those chances are a quarterback. I'll tell you the number one quarterback right now for the Cleveland Browns to end the drought for the Super Bowl here in Cleveland. McNuggets.
The Cavs got DeAndre Hunter, but in the process they lost George Niang and Karis LeVert, 2 crucial cogs to the locker room chemistry that we have talked in depth about this season. How important is that chemistry, and how much will those 2 be missed? And is it worth DeAndre Hunter? We'll all discuss that. But we got to start with the buyout, guys, Jay. And it came out this morning that Ben Simmons is officially been bought out by the Nets. He will meet with the Cavaliers. We put together a couple of potential buyout options that the Cavs may have some interest in. Simmons, Mo Bamba, Marvin Bagley, Bogdanovich, Malcolm Brogdon, Bruce Brown. And if you want to take the next one, I put 6 more on here. Daniel Tice, PJ Tucker, Lonnie Walker, Josh Richardson, DeLon Wright, Cam Reddish. They have enough money now, they being the Cavs, to sign up to 2 buyout guys if they choose. Is Simmons one of the ones you would absolutely target? And if we're going to play the odds and say they're going to get 2, give me another name you guys like.
Listen, I'm going to go ahead and start it off because I'm super excited about the news that Ben Simmons might be coming here on the buyout. Because guess what? It's free. When you got DeAndre Hunter, you filled your starting lineup. Now you're rolling with 6'8", and 6'11" and 7 foot with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. Now you got an opportunity to go get Ben Simmons. And I know. You heard about Ben Simmons. He can't shoot. We heard about the Brooklyn Nets. We heard about the Sixers and all that good stuff. But let me just tell you guys something. Just calm down. We're not asking Ben Simmons to do much. We're signing him to minimal deals. If he's a locker room problem, he'll be out of here by the time you snap your fingers. But the thing that Ben Simmons can do, he's 6'10", he can move, he's athletic, he can push the pace, he can handle the basketball. Can you imagine this man with the second unit as a center or a power forward? He still can pass with the best of them. He still can be a guy that you have to defensively get around. And now, instead of talking about our 2 small guards, Jason, we're dealing with a guy who is now 6'10", and we're minimizing the fact that Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell were smaller guards in the backcourt, and we've done that to get a guy for free. I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, Simmons would be number 1 on my list of potential guys. But it's important to note, first of all, most buyout guys don't have a great impact on their new team. There's a reason why these guys are available. They had no trade value, whether contract or skill or whatever else. Okay, so you know that going in. You're asking him to play a very specific niche role. He's been a guard most of his career. I like him more as a non-shooting big on this team. As a guy, as you said, he can handle the ball. Obviously, he's a great passer. He can set screens, roll to the basket, play defense, gives them length on the perimeter, a guy who can switch. You can play 1 through 5. You can switch 1 through 5 like Kenny likes to do defensively. So he's just another option for you. He's not in the top 8 of the rotation, I don't think. But, you know, for those little couple of moments in a postseason series when you need an extra defender, just think about putting him on an inbounder right there. You know, if it's a got-to-have-it moment, late game situation, the other team's running an ATO, they've got an out-of-bounds play, just put 6'10" Ben Simmons on the inbounder, and right there he's filling a need for you. So I think that there are opportunities where they could use him. He doesn't have a great reputation around the league, but this is an opportunity to come in with a clean slate, no expectations, no pressure. He's wanted here. The Cavs have had their eye on him for years. and see if he can help them at all.
What I'm most interested to see, the Cavs are one of 3 teams that he's going to speak to. I'm most interested to see if he comes here, what does a different Petri dish mean for Ben Simmons? If you look at the situations he's been in, I think it would kind of be easier to be a bad seed in some of those situations. Some of them have been an absolute dumpster fire, just a mess. He's going to be walking into a locker room that is currently the best or second best team record-wise in the NBA. What will that do towards jump-starting him in the avenue of being a good citizen? So I think he is the right move. As for part 2 of your question, like who's the next guy? Like you put up a bunch of names there. None of them move my meter, but I might be missing something. Tell me what could be there.
So real quick on the Simmons thing.
Yeah.
Atkinson has deployed a couple lineups this year where Okoro is their de facto 4.
Right.
Not necessarily size-wise, but he plays in that 4 position in the offense. And as good as Okoro's been and the improvements he's made this season, if you flip out Okoro with Simmons in that pick and roll and put Ben Simmons in the short roll passing situation with the elite three-point shooting the Cavs have in the corners, I think that could be a legitimate weapon to use in very certain situations in a playoff series. That's kind of why I'm bought in, on top of what you guys mentioned with the size and athleticism, on Simmons as a legitimate, viable buyout candidate for the Cavs. The other guy I like is Daniel Tice, who has played playoff minutes before with the Celtics. He's been on a couple different teams. He was with the Pelicans this season. They don't have any future. They're not going anywhere. His number's 7.5 points a game, almost 5 rebounds. Not really a three-point shooter, but if he's left wide open, can knock one down. He's tough. He's not a goon, but he's certainly not a guy you would want to mess with. And just as a backup big, he'd be an upgrade over Tristan Thompson if you need. So of the backup big buyout options, I actually like Daniel Tice as the best fit.
The thing you said that I like most about that is he brings a toughness.
Right.
Which I think the Cavs could use. When I was watching them against Boston, the one thing that was jumping out at me was I still don't know if this team is tough enough, physical enough.
Listen, Bruce Brown is intriguing to me. I know they need a big. Bogdanovich, the name jumps out to you. Malcolm Brogdon jumps out to you a little bit. But Bruce Brown is a guy who just won a championship with Nuggets a couple of years ago.
Yep, correct.
He showed exactly what he got a deal, and now he's getting bought out. So I'm looking around like, yeah, that might be a guy that could come in and do. And if I'm not mistaken, he's a pretty good rebounder for his size, pretty good. Defensive player, can hit an open 3. Why was it that it was bought out in Toronto? They just trying to move to trying to get to a different stage. They just felt it ran its course, or why is he on this list?
Me?
Yeah,
it's a great question. I don't know 100% the answer. They just traded for Brandon Ingram, so I'm not sure if he fit into their rotation and if he's looking to get back to a team that's ready to compete for a championship. That's not going to happen in Toronto this season, and his deal expires after this year, so he's an expiring contract.
I like Bruce Brown. I like him.
There's really no one else on that list, honestly, that interests me. I don't think that is really going to help them or make an impact. I think Simmons is probably the only. I mean, Mo Bamba, if you want an extra big, 7-footer, someone you can run out there.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much of an upgrade he really presents. I think Simmons is the only one that can make some sort of impact off the listed names.
I feel like this conversation kind of just drives home the fact of what we've been saying all year. This team has its core tent poles. It needs niche guys. It needs role guys. And that's a pretty good feeling to know, like when you juxtapose it with the Browns, who just have glaring weaknesses, like who's their tent pole?
They have holes in the tent.
They have holes in the tent,
poles.
and they don't have poles. I mean, it's a problem if
they're
you're
getting wet.
They're getting soaked. Where the Cavs have their 4 tent poles, and now they're working on, just shoring up the whole thing. And it's a good place that they're in. It's a good spot to be in for them, and I can't wait to see how the rest of the season plays out. All right, now the other flip side of that is, when you take and make a move like this, you have to take pieces out too. And I'm not so concerned about the on-floor losses that they get with Niang being gone and with LeVert being gone. I'm really concerned about what the loss of Niang in that locker room is going to mean, because I don't know. I mean, he might be one of the most liked guys in the locker room. He was very popular with his teammates. Just go back to when Garland hit the shot to beat Detroit the other night. he was the one going craziest. And now in 12 hours, his life has turned upside down. He's playing in Atlanta and not Cleveland anymore. And they're going to miss him. And I'm sure that, it's going to be odd for them when they walk in the locker room the next time and they look around and there is no big guy standing there. There is no Niang that they've loved for all this time. What is that? Are you guys as concerned about that chemistry as I am?
Well, no, I'm not as much as concerned with the chemistry because they had a lot of good, solid character people in the locker room, from Jared Allen to Mobley. All of them are really humble. Donovan Mitchell, even though he's the leader of the team and he's the superstar that they have, he's really a humble guy, says all the right things, supports everybody. So I think for me, my heart goes out to him a little bit because it's tough to be on a team that is breaking records in the top team in the league, and you're thinking about the playoffs and matchups and different things like that. And then the trade comes in and you're just like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be traded to where? And it's tough because you have such expectations for what you're going to do, and you're close to those guys. So shout out to George Niang and Karis LeVert because, I mean, they were a part of the people that got the Cavs where they are. And I don't know if they'll do it, but if the Cavs did win a championship, hopefully they look out for them and bless them with that championship hardware.
It's important. It's surely important. And look no further than the Guardians, who keep bringing Austin Hedges back, even though he's not very good. But because of what he means to that clubhouse, George, in a way, was sort of their Austin Hedges, although more skilled and more talented and more of an impact on the floor. But the Guardians are a really young team. They're always a young roster. This Cavs team really isn't that young anymore. They've experienced some things. They've been to the playoffs. So I think it will be okay. I'm not as concerned about it maybe as we tend to make it. On-court production matters more than if you like each other or not in the locker room. And on top of that, DeAndre Hunter has got a great reputation. He's a good guy. And I don't think that he's going to come in and cause any problems or anything like that. I think he's going to fit right in, sort of the culture that Donovan has built and Darius has built and Jarrett. These are pretty chill guys. They're easy to get along with, and I think DeAndre is going to fit right in. I think it's a little bit overblown. Yes, chemistry is important. Yes, it matters. But what can you do on the court? That matters a whole lot more.
Mike, you're around these guys a lot. You go to the games. You talk to them after the games. Am I overstating Niang's importance to the chemistry of this particular group? I feel like he's one of the most beloved players on the team amongst his teammates. Is that overstating it?
No, I don't think it's overstating it. I tweeted it yesterday, and I'll double down on it. But I think if you were to make a Mount Rushmore of best teammates in basketball, right now George Niang's on that list.
Wow.
And it does hurt to lose him. Jason's right, though. At the end of the day, chemistry helps. And this team still will have good chemistry without those two. They still have Tristan Thompson. Donovan was the leader of the locker room. Darius, Evan, all those guys get along great. So losing Niang and LeVert certainly takes away from the chemistry that they've developed over the first 50 games. But DeAndre Hunter is going to walk into this locker room with some already built-in connections to guys like Ty Jerome. Yeah. And in the last 20 minutes, DeAndre Hunter put out a Thank You Atlanta Instagram post.
Wow.
Very heartfelt thank you. I appreciate it. I grew
Nice.
up here. The first comment on that Instagram post was Ty Jerome, who said, yeah, shut up. Come play some defense. So I think DeAndre's going to fit right in with this group, and it's good that he is Ty Jerome, one of his best friends from their college days together, who's going to help him assimilate. And it does stink to lose George and Karis, but they still have a lot of really good locker room guys in that locker room, so I don't think it's going to be disrupted too much.
And we talked on the YouTube show earlier about how this trade hit all the nails. They got their stretch forward they needed. They get under the luxury tax. They didn't give away the 31. The other thing to me was Ty Jerome is a big piece moving forward. He's still here.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that I can look at this and say I hope this works out is the chemistry. Other than that, it's just amazing how Kobe pulled off this trade.
Shout out to him.
We've been sitting here for 3 weeks saying we didn't think that move existed.
Yeah.
We didn't think that there was a possibility to achieve all of that stuff, and Kobe did it.
And he did it in a way where he kept his core, kept his picks, and now the Cavs, I think they're right there with the Celtics.
All right, very good. All right, we're taking our first break. When we come back, what are the Browns going to do at quarterback in the upcoming NFL draft? Who is their guy? It's a fascinating conversation. It's one we'll dive into when the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show comes right back.
And we're making Super Bowl picks.
That's right, Super Bowl picks as well. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show here on WKYC. I know that the Browns pick number 2, and there is a very distinct possibility that Tennessee takes a quarterback at number 1. They need one also. Let's just, for the sake of this conversation, say that they had their choice, and it was them with the number 1 pick, and they were absolutely certain that they were going to take a quarterback. Do you guys get a sense that they're more in love with one of these quarterbacks over the other? And don't just limit it to Ward or Sanders. Maybe they think someone down the line is going to be the best quarterback.
Yeah, I think they like Shedeur Sanders. When you analyze and look at it, most people have Cam Ward ahead of Shedeur Sanders. However, I think they like Shedeur Sanders' makeup a little more. I think that they like the fact that he's a little more cerebral. I think they would like the fact that he's been under Pat Shurmur, who's been an offensive coordinator in the NFL and in college for a long time. And I think that Shedeur Sanders is able to do it with not very many people around him. Like, when he came from HBCU in Jackson State, he came there with him, Jimmy Horn, and Travis Hunter. Now, those guys are going to be draftable, but besides that, no offensive line, not many draftable guys besides those positions. And I think, he doesn't have a tremendous arm. He has a good enough arm. He doesn't have a rocket by any stretch of the imagination, but he makes good decisions when he does throw the ball. He does hold the ball a little bit more, but I think they feel like Shedeur Sanders is more ready to play earlier when Cam Ward might have a little more upside, Jason.
Jay?
Kevin Stefanski's been trying to run the 49ers offense for years. Mm-hmm. It's the Gary Kubiak system. And what you need most is accuracy and don't throw it to the other team. To me, that's Shedeur. So I don't know if that's who they're going to take or not. But a 75% completion percentage, for the most part, doesn't throw it to the other team. Are there flaws there? Yes, there are flaws there. But, when you grow up the kid of Deion Sanders, you've been around pressure your entire life.
Yeah.
You've been in the spotlight your entire life. You know what it's like to deal with that. So I don't think he's a kid that would get rattled. I don't know that necessarily I would want them to pick him at number 2. But if you're telling me these are the guys to choose from because of how accurate he is, because of how tough he is, because he tends to make good decisions with the ball, I think that would probably be their top guy.
I think we've said on this show, and I don't know if you guys agree with this, but I've long believed that the 2 most important positions in football are quarterback and the guy that gets after the quarterback. Because the guy that gets after the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, who is the best at doing that, has requested a trade, you now are looking at things entirely differently. You might have been looking at the draft saying, well, we've got that position covered. Now we've got to get the most important position covered. Suddenly, there is a real possibility that you do have to move him, and now you're without the 2 most important positions in football. And if that's the way you're looking at it and saying, which of those 2 positions is the most likely hit coming from? Like the can't miss. And I think it's Abdul Carter. I think it's the defensive end from Penn State. So I know it doesn't answer this question directly, and I'll get to that in a second. If I'm the Browns, I've got to get this right. I can't miss. Because if I miss, I'm out. I'm taking Abdul Carter. I'm addressing the quarterback either later in the draft or more likely next year when there's just there's more fruit on the tree next year. All of that being said, I'm beginning to be, I think I've come around to your way of thinking. I think there's a lot of flags that say Tennessee's going to take Cam Ward. And I think the Browns are going to overreach, and they're going to try to get the quarterback because they think that's more important than the defensive end. So I'm getting some vibes that they are going to draft Shedeur Sanders. I said on the YouTube show that I talked to Nathan Segura last night. I like Nathan a lot. I trust his opinion. He is really, really high on Shedeur Sanders for the reasons you said. He plugs and plays into Kevin's offense better than anybody else in this draft because of the accuracy and because of the decision-making. He also talked about how tough this guy is. He said this dude played behind arguably the worst defensive line in power football last year.
Yeah.
He got absolutely cremated.
No running game.
No running game. And everybody knew what they were going to do. He was going to drop back and throw the ball. It was interesting because the 3 of us were having a conversation, myself, Nathan, and Chris Rose. And Chris on our show last week said, do not take Shedeur Sanders. He doesn't have the athleticism that you think. You think it's Deion's kid. He's going to be Deion at quarterback. No, he's not. And he's right on that. I don't think he's a bad athlete.
Right.
I think he's middle of the road athlete.
He'd be average.
He'd be average
enough to move up in the pocket.
He wouldn't be an immobile quarterback, but he also wouldn't be. If you think you're getting Lamar Jackson or even Josh Allen in terms of scramble, and you're not getting that guy. So, but I am getting vibes that they are going to go with Shedeur Sanders, and I hope that for the next 10 years they don't have to watch Abdul Carter win Defensive Player of the Year awards and be a sack leader for somebody else. That's my fear. But as you guys know from watching the show, I live in my fears. And I very much think about my fears before I think logically. All right, we're going to take a break. Coming back, Super Bowl 59. The Chiefs are going for history. No team has ever won 3 Super Bowls in a row. They're going to try to become the first. But do the Eagles have more with the top running game and top defense in the game? Picks are next. All right, I'm in my 59th year. There have been 58 Super Bowls. This will be 59. I was thinking last night, I was talking to some people at the Sports Awards, and I said, there have been 118 invitations to the Super Bowl handed out. 59 in the AFC, 59 now in the NFC. And 118, there's 32 teams. Law of averages is we should be on our 4th. Mm-hmm. We don't have one. And if you just do law of averages in the AFC, we should be on our 6th or 7th. We're not going. It's the Chiefs and the Eagles, 2 teams that are familiar with this game. I've had a hard time picking the winner of this game. Who are you guys picking to win?
We said it last year. I said it the year before. I've learned my lesson. I'm not choosing and picking against Patrick Mahomes. Give me the Chiefs in this game, and the reason is this guy. I mean, he gets it done. He's beat Lamar. He beats Josh Allen. He beats Joe Burrow, and these are some of the greatest quarterbacks that we've ever seen collectively in this game. He just does it. He finds a way to make plays and gets it done. Saquon Barkley had a great year, but I think that the Eagles will be winning this game, but it comes down to the 4th quarter, and that man's going to have the ball in his hands, Jason.
I'm with you. It took me about 3 seconds to pick this one. I'll take the quarterback over the running game and the defense every time, the way the NFL is built this year, and it don't get no better than Patrick Mahomes. So give me the Chiefs. It's easy. I
think it's a great test case because Bull has been riding the horse that you can't win a Super Bowl without a great quarterback. You know, the last time it happened was, either go back to Brad Johnson or you go back to when the Eagles beat the Patriots. Now it's weird.
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles wasn't a great quarterback, but he had one of the all-time great quarterback days in NFL Super Bowl history. Yep. So he was great on that day. I believe that there has been a shift in the NFL. I just think that the days of those 450-yard passing games are gone with the 2 high safeties. Now it's a underneath game and dink and dunk, and I don't think anybody dinks and dunks better than Patrick Mahomes. However, what gives me pause is the Eagles don't have just one of the other 2 elements. They have both, and they're number 1 in both. Number 1 defense, number 1 rushing game. So this is a great test case. Is this still the era of the great quarterbacks? If it is, the Chiefs will win. If not, the Eagles have so much that will be difficult to overcome. But like you guys, I asked myself, can I pick against the greatest coach in the NFL today? Can I pick against the greatest quarterback in the NFL today? And can I pick against the greatest defensive coordinator in the NFL today? And I can't do it. Yeah. I got a close one. Chiefs 24, Eagles 21. It's decided at the end of the game.
Well, if the Eagles have any chance of winning, they better be up more than 1 score.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the game.
They
don't give the ball to Mahomes with the 1-score game.
But that being said, Tom Brady came back from 28-3 once. Yeah. If there's another human being on the planet that can do it, it's Patrick Mahomes.
They're going to have to go for every 4th down. They're going to have to convert every 4th down.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to be up 2 to 3 scores
in
the 4th quarter.
Well, here's the thing with the Eagles. When they get to 4th and 1, they got you right where they want you.
Yeah.
And so I think what might decide this game is the Kansas City the defensive front against the best short yardage team I have ever seen. ever.
Can they just tush push every play?
I mean,
3 yards
2 or
every
3.
play. 3 yards every play.
Yeah,
3
and
yards.
so-
They might be exhausted
and-
and get carried off on stretchers, but
And it's demoralizing for a team and the defense when they know we don't just have to stop them 3 times. We have to stop them 4 times because they're going to go for it. Mike, who do you like?
I'm not picking against Mahomes. I think that the Eagles have a better roster top to bottom, but I'm not going to be the one who picked against Mahomes and then feels like an idiot Sunday night when he gets his third.
Okay, so here's what we just proved. Open your FanDuel app and bet on the Eagles right now. Because every time we are a unanimous pick, it always goes the other way.
Goes left.
Almost always. So there you have it. All right, I'm hoping for a good game. I think we'll get one. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll see you Monday.
Peace.